Well, hello everyone. How are you doing tonight? I've got the ears on. However, I can't hear anything until we get some more people on here. So, thought I would give it a shot. Try to improve the sound quality, move my mic a little closer, possibly allow my hearing loss. I have a little bit of hearing loss, so try to improve that. So, as usual, the link is right up there if you want to come in. So a little bit later tonight, Saturday night, we try to include the West Coast folks. Still only like 6:30 over there, but figured we'd give them a shot. Hey, Hope, Michaels, Randy, both Randys, James, South Mapper, good to see you. Tritone, good to see you as well. Really, it's been cold and rainy here today. It's 50 degrees now. It was in the 40s earlier today and rainy, so not much happening bee-wise here. So just figured we would hang out for a bit. Hey, there's Lee and Edward. Good to see y'all. And, link is up top. I was monkeying around with the camera. The camera's even up a little bit higher. Let me see if I can fix that a little bit. Not that I want to see the stain on my shirt or the fact that the Gamecocks beat Vanderbilt. Hey, Carl, JNDS, good to see you guys. Just hanging out, guys. So if you want to come in, there's the link. It's right there. All you have to do is reach up and click, and you'll be right in. So otherwise, this could be an incredibly short stream tonight if there's no stimulating chat. You guys always have stimulating chat in the conversation. Now I look like I'm doing radio. Do I need to sound like I'm doing radio? This is WBEE for all of your beekeeping news and enjoyment. So that would be more like the WCEZ, Easy 93 FM, something like that, right? Little elevator music for your listening pleasure. You guys got jokes tonight, though. That's good. And my camera just did a Charlie. I saw it like fade out. Hey, Mr. Larry. Good to see you. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. And hopefully your weather does not suck like it has here today. I just moved the mic. It's the same exact mic, guys. I just moved it from over there to over here, and it is right now right there, so it's just more right in front of me. Hopefully it's not overpowering your speakers or your cell phone or something like that. If it is, you got to let me know in the comments so I can try to adjust that sensitivity a little bit. Lee, what are you up to, buddy? Well, thank you. Thank you. I am drinking caffeine. Caffeine, still smoke-free. Doing good on the smoke-free front. So trying to work around it. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. I know you had a video. More climbing gear. You got more hobbies than anybody I know, sir. I saw Grammy had a premiere. Lisa had a premiere about 8 o'clock, right? Almost 2 hours ago now. So who knows? Maybe Charlie's out there. Maybe we've got Brad out there. I know Brad was going to get something to eat. 3/8 of an inch of rain. It's supposed to rain here tomorrow as well. And I've been wanting to go out, and I could have went out and cleaned the honey house today, but went shopping, grocery shopping, came home. Didn't feel like doing it once I got back. So maybe tomorrow go out there and clean that. And I'm looking at these boxes that I need to build. and just start getting things ready, right? So I know how much equipment I need to buy and all of that stuff. So it's just one of those busy kind of times of the year, even though it's officially winter, I guess, for beekeeping. Hey, Shane, how's it going? So what we need is people to come in the stream. That's what we need. We need some of the regulars, or irregulars, as we like to call them, to join us. Where's Todd? Todd's probably cooking right now. I don't know. They don't even know I'm live, probably, thanks to the algorithm. Let me let them know. Let's let them know. All right. Just sent them a message. Yeah, things are all right. You know, it's the bees are just wet and rainy today, so we're not doing much on that front. Not doing much at all. And got everything starting to get cleaned up, straightened out, you know. Trying to get it done. I just realized that in 11 days, it will have been 35 years since I left to go in the service. You have to grab my other tablet. Oh, okay, I got you. Well, cool. Carl will be joining us. We'll have some interesting chats and discussions. Here, Hives for Heroes. Nice. I've been involved with Hives for Heroes since oh goodness, probably a year and a half now, and they have not been successful at setting up a mentee or a newbie to come out to the bee yard yet. They've sent me a couple. I've tried to contact them, and they have not come through, or maybe they did not decide to beekeep or something. I don't know. But, you know, it's always by email first. Very nice, James. Oh. Did you get done with the carry out? The takeout?
I did.
And by the smile on your face, it was delicious.
It was.
Was it worth an hour and a half round trip?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it has to be now, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to admit it wasn't. One of the goofier things that I've ever done in my life, but
you should have
real hankered for Chinese food.
You should have packed the wife up and made it a date night.
Well, that was the plan, but as the day wore on, she wasn't feeling very good, so I just went out and got it myself.
So it became a bee chat and chill kind of night instead of Netflix and chill.
Oh, we had a nice supper together.
Very good. Well,
so it was very good.
So I moved the microphone. Remember, we had this discussion yesterday.
Yeah.
I moved the microphone closer.
Yeah.
And people seem to like it in the chat. But I don't know how it sounds to you. And I've got the ears on tonight, so.
Actually, it sounds really nice. You've got much more low resonance to your voice and much less of that. I don't want to call it an echo, but it was an echo. It was a very, very small echo sound before, because you're probably getting some reflection from beyond the mic or whatever. But yeah, it sounds really good right now.
So now I can have the very white voice.
Hey, baby.
Hey, baby. The big bopper.
The very white.
You know what? So Today it was
And
in
I need one so I can stop sounding like I'm talking through a drinking straw.
you really don't sound bad. It's only when you move the mic back and forth where there's a little bit of an issue.
I can't hear that.
Barely.
Yeah.
And I'm half deaf too, so that makes it even worse for me. So if you really don't want, if you want to talk about me behind my back, just flip your mic up and talk to everybody else because I can't hear it.
So officially, before we start, I want to thank you, Bob, and the rest of service members. Thank you for your service. I appreciate that very much.
I should be wearing my official Navy hat, but I would have to adjust my headset. So we'll do that for this stream. There we go. And I'm actually multi-branch, so I can't wear Navy and Army at the same time. And since I went into Navy through boot camp and all of that, I kind of claim that as my home team, right? So when Army Navy plays, it's always Navy every time. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you see, Lisa? Bob, you have a radio voice and face.
Yeah.
She's not lying, though. So, that's...
I wasn't going to say anything.
I'm kind of aging like milk, old milk. But, it's all good. I just need to grow my beard back, and then people will be like, oh, that's the Bob we know. So no word from Charlie or Todd on coming in.
Wow.
I know, it's kind of weird. But it's all good.
I didn't accomplish anything today. The only thing I accomplished is go and get Chinese food.
Well, when you got to drive 900 miles to go get said Chinese food, I understand.
Miles, but it was. I don't know how far.
I didn't either. I went to the grocery store and back
70 miles,
and to the pharmacy and back, and then it was 49 and rainy today. So I was like, nah. It's one of those days.
I did. I went out back and I hooked up my truck to my trailer and I brought it back up to the house because it's sloppy out there. There's snow everywhere, but the ground's not frozen. So the ground is melting the snow, and so everything is wet. And there's water under the snow and there's mud under the snow. So I went beeling back there with my truck and I made all kinds of muddy ruts, hooked up my trailer, come beeling back and made all kinds more muddy ruts. But the weather is only going to get warmer, and I need to use my trailer on Tuesday. So I thought, as bad as it is, it ain't going to get any better. So I thought I better bring that up.
Just deal with the ruts in the spring.
Well, that's a problem. I'll be dealing with them all bloody winter because they'll be frozen. It's going to be awful. It's going to be awful.
I've just got tree roots everywhere. Excuse me. Tree roots everywhere in the yard, and it is so I don't have to put it in a 4-wheel drive to get over them yet, but I was thinking, I've been thinking about a building or a shed or something for storage, and then I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, if I knock down that chicken coop, there's a perfect spot right there for a building. And so I don't know. Then I start looking at how much they cost. I'm like, maybe not.
Buildings are terribly expensive.
Well, and then you have to get the electric to them, right? So you got to get the inspectors to inspect the electrical, and if you're going to use it and you want water out there, then you need water. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. We'll just probably a game time decision. I'll see one of these places that say, oh, we repoed one, first $3,000 gets it or something. And I'll be like, sold, and then have them bring it, and then have to repair it. Probably spend another $3,000 to repair it because the other person didn't care about it, Can
you refurbish your shipping container?
Yeah, I probably could.
Those things are a little bit of an eyesore.
Until you paint them all black and yellow and write your name on the side and make it look all honey house.
Yeah.
What is that? It's the sugar factory, baby. Come check it out. It's the sugar shack.
It's the sugar shack.
But yeah, I mean, so today was really one of those days to where I was halfway just kind of, well, I was full on actually just watching YouTube droning. Do I go live? Do I not go live? It's one of those, I'm one of those guys that I don't really feel like doing it until I start doing it. Then it's like, okay, it's all good. We'll just keep it going.
I haven't watched it. It's an hour and 22-minute video, but I discovered a video on Man Lake's YouTube channel. It's an interview with Dr. Larry Connor. And I'm a big Larry Connor fan.
Isn't that the Terminator? Oh, it's John Connor.
Oh, that's John Connor. That's the Terminator.
And then he came.
Larry Connor, he talks about honeybees and queens and drones.
And then he came back from the future to be the governor of the great state of California.
California.
You do that so well. I'm not even going to embarrass myself with it anymore. I'll let you embarrass yourself with it.
Yeah, you can. I embarrass myself. So anyway, Larry Connor was talking to Man Lake on YouTube. So it's an hour 22 minutes. So I've got to commit to watching that. That's a good video to watch. I stacked those up actually in my playlist so I could play them in the shop when I'm putting covers together.
You know, I saw today, and let me see if I can remember where I saw it. It was on Facebook. Yep. So I know you drive great distances to go places. Do you know that Tom Seeley has The Honeybee Democracy is on Audible from Amazon, so you can listen to it while you're driving?
I've actually read that book.
Audiobook. See, you know, I would have to be able to read to do such things.
I kind of have it right next to me here somewhere in my little pile of books here.
I've watched his presentations on it. I didn't realize it was on like book to tape, and I could sit.
The boss is asking me how many covers I got done. Do I tell him the truth, or do I make it?
Hold on, I can fix this for you. Hold on. Sorry, we must be experiencing technical difficulties. Brad had to leave the stream all of a sudden.
It's this many. That's how many I've got done. Well, they're not done, but they're assembled. So Randy was saying I need to turn my mic up. I did. Is that any better?
I hear you fine.
So Randy will have to give his.
Just lie. Carl said, "Just lie."
Is it? How many you got done? It's like, oh shit, boss is here.
Even when the boss is away.
Even when the boss is away, he's here.
He keeps his employees in line there. He keeps them in check. Well, you know, not really an employee, but
off all day and drive 2 hours to get Chinese food. No, not me. Not me.
If you were me, I would have drove up an appetite and had to stop and get something to eat when I was there so I could drive home and eat with the wife, right?
It was tough to drive all the way back with the Chinese food on the seat.
I want to know how you
smell it.
How you kept the Chinese food warm while you're driving back. That would have been the test. Oh, Bob's louder. There you go. I moved my mic.
It wasn't too bad.
I moved my mic, and just like I thought I would be blowing people out over here.
I've got a little space to make my mic a little louder. How's that? That's max. How's that? Is it too much? I don't know.
Paul says that's just normal.
Does it change? That's just normal.
Sounds the same to me. Let me see.
Bob being louder than everybody else is just normal.
It's because I'm deaf.
Don't make me put on my.
I'm gonna have to go to summer school to learn sign language so I can communicate next year. If this
Don't
keeps
make me put on my opera voice. I'll blow your eardrums out.
Remind me to tell you that opera joke later.
All right.
I can't. It's not It's not monetization approved.
Don't lose our status. Just finishing up my commitment with IHPA, getting some downtime. That's awesome. That downtime is always well earned. I know.
So did I tell you Hope sent me where Ian's going to be speaking next month, since he couldn't recall the other day. It is at the Henderson County Beekeepers Association in Hendersonville, North Carolina. So you're actually, if you're landing in Charlotte, you're going to probably drive by car another hour to get there. At least an hour. Because it took an hour and a half ride for me to 2.5 hours from here. Just a different direction. Did you see Carl's comment? Easy. You eat Chinese when you pick it up, and then halfway home you stop for Italian.
I resemble that remark.
I did that. We had Chinese last night. So tonight we had what you had last night. My wife made a pot roast.
I saw you eating that Chinese, and that's exactly why I got a hankering. I had Chinese food in I don't know how long. Long time.
Well, so
it's your fault.
I was about to say something sideways. God, I'm glad you guys are here because you keep me on the straight and narrow most of the time.
You see that red thing there? That red thing there? It says live.
Yes. I know.
That's the sensor.
I'm trying to be more sensitive in my views and opinions on lives.
Evidently, I have to do.
Hey, Steve, fly into Asheville. Yeah, I mean, that's probably where I would fly, but I guess Ian's flying into Charlotte because that's an international airport as well.
Yeah, if Ian's flying down. Well, I don't know. He's probably going to connect in Chicago or something. Maybe Minneapolis again, but could be O'Hare.
He must have brought the Canadian weather down when he came because my temperatures dropped to 49. I mean, it was a high of 49 today.
It's hardly any colder here.
And it was all I saw. If I saw bees on the landing board, they were all kind of wet and dead. So I don't know if they were just dragging them out the front and leaving corpses on the landing board or what today, but I had one colony. It was like that, a few of them, maybe 20 bees or so. The weak ones.
Went in the bee barn yesterday. There was a guy here. I would show people around, and there was a lot of bee drop to start with. And that's normal because when the bees sit outside, they all have their normal attrition. But when it's kind of cold out, they don't venture very far out the entrance. So they don't generally, or they often don't take a lot of the dead bees out. And then when I move them in the building, then it's a bit warmer in there and they can venture out to the entrance to kick the corpses off the doorstep. So they'll puke bees for the first number of days that they're inside. And then it'll slow down.
Hey, you know how you made it on live streams? When Ian Stepler's away from the farm with his wife alone, and he's in the chat.
And he's in the chat. He couldn't wait.
He couldn't wait to get back. He's never going to speak to us again. His wife's probably smacking him in the back of the head right now. What are you doing? Get off of that thing.
He said it. This guy said it.
That's now I feel like I'm somebody. Just picking Ian, you know that. Don't like throw a complaint to YouTube.
You're gonna have to apologize to Sandy when you see her.
I know. It should be like, oh, I know you.
Oh, so you're Bob.
Oh, yeah, smack. She'll just straight out. It'll be I'll be the Chris Rock to her Will Smith. Hopefully Ian's laughing back there, or he might have already disconnected us to get back to real life. But so yeah, I'm just looking over here. I've got about 30 more boxes to put together. So that's that if I can get the honey house squared away tomorrow, I'll probably start putting those boxes together, and just baby steps, getting stuff done a little bit at a time.
Well, I got this many covers made. And I have this many to go.
You don't have that many fingers and toes to count them on. There's so many.
No, I can't count that high. 194 to go.
Only 194. And that's just an order. That doesn't include the ones you have to build for yourself, right?
Well, no, but this, and then I'm caught up to last year's order. Well, not quite, because there's some other stuff he wanted too, but I didn't build.
Then you've completed last year's work. Then your year will officially be complete. Your beekeeping season will officially be complete.
Yeah, well, start all over again in January, but it won't be January. It'll be more like almost February before I get to start over.
That's the thing. Ours doesn't really stop too much around here. I mean, like today. I mean, we couldn't do anything today, but all we need is a little bit warmer weather. So right now, I looked at today after all of our talks, and I'm like, oh, my bees got an extra day of life in them today. They got a day off. They didn't have to fly. They could just sit back and relax. And
have you been inside any of them lately?
Yeah, I did this week. I went in on Thursday. I went in a number of them.
Still lots of brood?
I didn't actually break them apart.
Okay.
There was a ton of bees, though. So as compared to what I would have thought was a box of bees at the beginning of the year, now they're looking more like Canadian boxes of bees. You know, when you open it up,
okay.
You're like, oh, that looks pretty good. You know, so definitely a different look to my bee hives as they were compared to last year. Let's see. Here we go. Politics. Did you just I thought you froze up for a second.
Oh, I'm just reading that. Yeah. Why don't you ask me a hard question, Shane?
Right. Well, you can only be 50% wrong for whoever you're talking to.
No. In this question, you can be 200% wrong. Boy, that's a good question. Do you know anything about the court case? I don't really know a lot about the court case. I haven't been following it. Ian's been following it actually, so he's been actually kind of talking about it on Facebook. And why wouldn't some of the provinces want to be part of it? I don't know. Yeah, thanks, boss. Get in here. I don't know that it's not between the provinces, though. Why wouldn't some of the provinces want to be part of it? It's not between the provinces and the CFIA. It's between these select beekeepers and the CFIA. Right? It's they call it a class action suit, but they've kind of involved everybody without permission. But I guess that's the way class actions work. But it is a select number of beekeepers who are waging this lawsuit. And apparently it's been pretty interesting proceedings. So it'll be really interesting to see how it turns out. I'm really not going to say any more about it because, it's too easy to not get your point across and have a bunch of people want to come and cut your head off. So, I mean, if somebody wants to talk to me about it in person to person, that's fine. But that's all I'm going to say.
And Ian, we're glad Sandy didn't give you a concussion for watching beekeeping streams when you should be spending the evening with her. Ian's a good sport.
So Russell says he enjoyed the video about making the covers, and says now I know how to make them. Good. And actually, I put all of the diagrams and dimensions and
it's on SketchUp,
build
right?
plans on SketchUp on online. You can find them there. I think you just search for that Me Man at Faith Apiaries or something like that on the SketchUp library. I am watching college football, and yeah, you can find all of my stuff there if you want exact dimensions on how to do it. I'll probably do another build video on it. I just didn't want to, do an in-depth build video on the vlog. It would make it way too long. So I'll probably make a standalone video on that when I start up assembling again, which will probably be tomorrow. I got to do something tomorrow because today was a write-off.
Well, Saturday means only one more work day this week, right?
Well, I got one more work day this week, so we'll get 6 more covers put together. And honestly, I can't do that many a day because it takes a toll on my body standing there doing that. So honestly, 20 in a day is, a decent day for me. But I got to do some other stuff. I just got to walk around more.
Well, Todd says he probably won't make it to the stream. He's watching the UFC
He's been
tonight.
out making merry.
He's watching the UFC with his neighbor and indulging in some adult beverages. But we've never stopped adult beverages here. And I saw cases of canned Fresca today, and I was like, maybe I should.
I've got a whole bunch of it sitting right here, but I don't want to drink it.
Got to make it last. Got to ration. You don't know when the weather's
out of the other stuff. and if I drink all that, then once I get a refill in the others, I won't have any Fresca.
And then Kraken season's still 2 weeks away.
Yes, Russell, I do have. Well, they're not rubber; they're more foam, I would call them. But yeah, they help a lot. They do help a lot. I always try to set that up if I'm working at a workstation on the cement. I try to set that floor pad up where I'm standing, just to give a little bit of give.
And Fanny is your aunt. Todd has been Googling. You get off the Wikipedia, Todd.
It's used in the Googles.
So I saw a thing where James was saying he might be heading down to Mississippi, which means he has been inquiring about that Cowan line.
Oh,
so, the Cowan line that I sent that was like 25 grand, and it was a full Cowan line with like an extra uncapper that had parts and a bunch of stuff. And I believe he has been talking to them. But I don't have definitive proof because I really haven't talked to James in a little bit now. but it'd be interesting to know.
Well, I don't doubt it. He's
That's
got
a
a new
long.
truck, and he's itching to make a road trip, I'm sure.
Yeah, Michigan State sucks this year, Randy. I know.
That's a
You know,
long ways.
it is a very long way.
To where? Mississippi?
It's 9.5 hours from me down there, so I can only imagine. Oh well, that means it's only 18 hours for James because James is 18 hours from everywhere. We're going to China. Be there in 18 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'll tell you how far it is. Calculating. It's a 39-hour drive.
it's gonna have to take a whole week.
I think that's divisible by 18, isn't it?
So Brian got on local honey finder. That's a good
Awesome.
thing. Hopefully, you get lots of people ordering from you. I've only had one contact off of there since I've been doing it, but the fact that you can find people in there is nice.
Hope says, I like your heated socks. I have a heated anti-fatigue mat. Oh, that's a good idea. You know what? And like the socks, I don't know. I might be afraid my feet would sweat a bit. And boy, there's nothing that makes your feet tired and cold like being wet.
I hope so. It only took him 4 tries to get on there.
I love those socks. Like, I just absolutely love those socks. My feet are never cold, but they're never warm.
Do they use a 9-volt battery?
No. I could show you what they use. They're sitting here beside me.
I had a.
I think.
I had.
Oh no! I put them away.
I had a set when I was up north in Massachusetts, and it had a volt batteries on the top of them. So they literally were like electric blankets for your feet.
Did they last a while on a 9-volt?
I didn't wear them that often, but they did last pretty well.
Yeah. These last a number of hours.
That was only 30 years ago or so. So they'll probably have some kind of...
well, battery technology, yeah. It's probably about half the size of a pack of smokes, I guess, is the battery on it. And it's got a little control. It's got high, medium, low, and then it's USB-C to charge it, so it's easy to charge.
You just walk around with one of those, what are the pocket juice or whatever they're called, the little bricks that you pre-charge.
You could charge it with a pocket juice, sure. Sure, you could.
You could just plug them in.
On an extended day.
Plug them into your pocket juice and just use the battery, use the pocket juice to power them all day long.
See, the sock uses a different jack to power it. It's more of a 3mm, like a TRS plug or something.
Right.
And then on the other side of the battery, there's a USB-C. So you could actually plug your pocket juice into the USB-C and then plug the battery into the socks. So you could, double your power, double your fun.
See, and you thought we only talked about bees on this channel. We talk about socks, trucks.
Talk about electric socks.
Electric socks.
Betcha. Yeah, it sounds stupid, and it was kind of a whim, and I thought, yeah, I'd try this, and I love it. And they're so thin. They're just you want to wear a sock otherwise, but you put this sock on, it's so thin, and then you put your regular socks over it. You can't really feel it. The heating element goes all the way under your heel and all the way up to the front and around your toes to keep everything warm.
Wonder where old Charlie is tonight. Do I need to even question? I know where.
Yeah, Charlie, I wonder.
Probably Charlie is. It's Saturday
you know where
night.
Charlie is.
Saturday night. I'll
Ain't
send him
got no money.
Let me send him an invite here.
We're having so much fun, Charlie.
Maybe not as much fun as he. Oh yeah, a state meeting today at 10:30 at night. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I still got to clean the back apiary up, my queen rearing yard, if you will. Did you leave a link to the socks on your video?
No, I didn't. I just showed the box that you can look that up.
What are they called? Because I'll drop
know.
a link.
I have to watch the video.
Oh,
It's just, you know what? I'll look it up here. I can find it, and then I'll show you what it is. I can look it up. I got it from the Amazon store.
they got them like $70 for a pair of heated socks.
That was probably about that.
And do they run off an app on your phone that you can turn them up and down?
No, it's just a little button on the battery. I always run them on high, and they're fine.
4,000. They got a 4,000 milliamp hour, a 5,000 milliamp hour, a 2,200. Oh my gosh, they got several different ones. They got them in gray. They got them in black.
Okay, this is a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. With 7.4137. Yeah, $80. Let me see. I'll show you.
Are they called snow deer?
No, they're called Spore Vet. And I had no reason to choose this brand or anything. I just kind of randomly chose something. It seems to be good. So now you can see on the top here, see that little jack that goes into the battery, and then the pocket. You can see the pocket where the battery sits. And those two little knobs are not snaps. They're just, I guess they're just there to keep the battery from riding up. And those are the batteries. Then they don't have fire on them either. That's just a picture. So they're not on fire when you get them.
They'd be quite a bit warmer.
They would. Does that kind of answer your? Who was asking for the?
I think it was Russell.
Russell.
I think it was Russell.
You have a link. Yeah, that kind of do it for you, Russell. You can find them. And I'll reiterate, I just chose them randomly. Hey, Charlie.
Hey.
I just kind of, the reviews look pretty good, and they seem to work. So.
Well, hey, Charlie, how are you doing?
All right.
He's got the good bike. It picks up like all the popcorn. What kind of mic do you have there, Charlie?
That's that one that Lee told me to get off of Amazon. I got the stand, and it pivots, and it's got a boom, where I can bring it in, and it came with the mic and the boom and everything for like $100. and all that. So I went to a state meeting today, which was worthless, but other than that,
What made it worthless, in your opinion?
well, before I even went to it, I looked at the itinerary and I'm like, Friday, I'd gotten to the point where I was just tired of dealing with the public at the mill, and just it was like I needed, a 2-day break, So I got up early this morning and I drove an hour and a half, drove an hour, went to breakfast, drove down to the college here to near Washington, D.C. And the itinerary was some science gal out of Texas A&M, I think it is, or whatever it is. And she talked about queens and drones and all this kind of stuff, which I think since I had to be on the road by 6, it was an hour and a half drive to get there. I got left about a half an hour later, but I went ahead and stopped for breakfast. So it worked out fine. And she zoomed in from Texas, and it was like, I don't know, just about half asleep listening to her. That's how exciting it was. It wasn't really, it wasn't any information that I could use per se.
Charlie, you're half asleep on here when you're listening to us talk half the time.
No, that's me sitting back like this. And it's just the way the chair leans. And then the other speaker was in house was some woman from Georgia. She's got a bee business. She's a commercial beekeeper, and she enters wax, and honey in these big fancy shows and stuff like that. If you're into that, I'm not into that. I did that one time, and it was like, what a joke. It's about presentation. It's not about the honey itself. And so anyway, I've seen some different people there that I sort of knew from the other meetings and stuff like that. And so they're going to have EAS Master Beekeeper Conference in Maryland next year. And this group is putting it on. And it's not too far from my house, maybe an hour at the most. Not even an hour, probably. If it's good driving traffic, 45 minutes. And so anyway, I'm looking at the little paper they were giving out, the itinerary and things like that. And he said, "Are you a member of EAS?" I says, "No." "Well, you ought to become a member." I said, "Well, what do I get for it?" "Well, you get to come to the conference." I'm like, whoopee-doo. And, what kind of irritates me is let's say they want $100 for the conference. Well, in order to be able to buy the ticket to the conference, you got to give them $35 to become a member, and then you can buy the $100 ticket. So why don't you just say it's a $135 ticket, or whatever. And that's always been my, but that's what Brian there was talking about, camping out at my place for EAS next year. So, I'm like, "Hey, Carl."
Hey, guys.
Carl.
So anyway, I got like the postcard here of sort of the basic itinerary and 3 different keynote speakers. Michelle, somebody from Montana State, going to talk about bee host pathogen and interactions. Okay. Not exciting. Somebody from Maryland is going to talk about bee behavior. Not exciting. And somebody else is going to talk about native bee inventory and monitoring program. Like, who cares? I don't. I mean,
see, Charlie, If you would have bought your
This guy.
membership last
This
year,
guy.
you might have been over there talking about single brew chamber management. They might have asked you to do it.
I doubt it. They want me. See, that's another thing about this whole deal here. When they have these conferences, that's when you pay them to go take their 4-part test to become an EAS master beekeeper and all that. Which is difficult. It is difficult to get that certification. You have to know a lot about everything. But I'm not. They want you to go out and do, I'll say, outreach as far as teaching and things like that. And that's not really my. I don't know. It's not my forte, I guess, to a certain extent.
Just send them all to your YouTube channel. Say, look, I'm teaching single brew chamber management here once a week on Fridays at 8 o'clock. They can watch.
I know. I don't know. I mean, some people might disagree with what I say, but
No, not right
I
now.
don't. It's like I was talking to one of the girls down there who writes an article in Bee Culture magazine, and she had went to Hive Life this year. And she didn't like the acoustics in the room. I said, I agree with you 100%. And where the food was, and you couldn't hear the speaker very well. And I don't know. I mean, I guess everybody gets different things out of different conferences and all that. And I guess, it's like all of us here, we're all YouTubers. A lot of all of us are content creators. And I think that's the one thing with Nobby and all that kind of stuff. There's this group of beekeepers across the country that we're all YouTubers and we connect with each other, and they have these other, the local clubs and stuff there's this disconnect with YouTube, and they don't know why their numbers are dwindling.
That's because 95% of them don't watch YouTube.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And that's what this girl told me today. She said, I haven't got into that yet. I'm like, okay. I said, I have a talk show on Friday nights. I've got friends from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States and all in between. I've got friends up in Canada. 2 weeks ago, I had the Canadian invasion. I had everybody that was on the stream was from Canada, and I said, and we talk about some, like Doug and everybody, we're talking about his hives being completely snowed over. And Brad's talked about that, how that's an insulating factor and how the bees actually survive better and all this kind of stuff. And you don't need that upper entrance type thing, because I was having that one guy that in our club zoomed in talking about condensing the hive as far as not having upper entrances and moisture control and all that kind of stuff. If they would get into stuff like that, I mean, some really in-depth but very helpful information to keep your hive alive, and get some people that, the different studies. There's been a lot of studies about that and stuff and all. But like you say, Tony's her name. She said, I haven't got in the internet yet. And that's why, that this meeting today, I used to go there pre-COVID. There'd be 100 and some people there. Today there was 30. And 15 of them were on, plus 30 of them there, plus 15 off the internet. and all. And that's COVID has changed everything because of people learning how to do the Zoom. It's like, well, why don't we just Zoom it? I can remember before COVID, people come into the club and they talked about Skype, and I'm like, what's Skype? And it's kind of a pre-Zoom thing, and now we were forced into it, and Zoom became very easy to understand how to use, and now it's like our board meetings. We used to go to each individual board member's house each month and travel around. I might have to drive 45 minutes to one guy's house. Now we don't. We Zoom everything off of Zoom. There's no reason for us to travel around. But that's how COVID has changed our interactions with each other and stuff like that.
We've had the same problem when we couldn't meet. Starting in 2020, our association. I wasn't president of the association at that time. I wasn't even on the executive at that time, but I was good friends with the president, and I mentioned to him when the first month that we couldn't have meetings in person. I said, we could do this by Zoom, and just try that out, and he reacted like he thought I cured cancer or something, so we put that up together, and that kind of caught on, and then people started to get comfortable with it, and people liked it. Now I still use that platform every month when I have a novice session, just so that the newer beekeepers can join in and we can just have a conversation. We do that on Zoom, but we started having our in-person meetings again as soon as we could. And we had to change our venue because our venue had been kind of leased out from under us. And I do think we have a good venue still. It's a far bigger venue, which is nice. Problem is, we were in a small venue before, and we had 100 or more people at our meetings. And now we've got a really nice big venue, and we have 50 people at our meetings. But it's like I don't know where the people are. Like, why are you not coming to the meetings?
Are you still Skyping it or no?
Zooming it?
No, we're not doing Zoom. I got into doing that both from the regional association and a provincial association. I did enough of that to realize that doing what's called a hybrid meeting was not straightforward at all. There are some serious difficulties in that, particularly with sound. And so because they elected me president last year of this regional association, I essentially gave them an ultimatum and said, look, if somebody is going to volunteer and put together this hybrid meeting model so that we can hold in-person meetings simultaneously over Zoom and give everybody on both sides the same experience, if somebody's going to volunteer to put that together, then by all means, we'll do it. Guess what?
Nobody.
This many people volunteered. And it's still that way. And I made it clear. I said, you're going to volunteer to do it because I'm not going to do it. I got lots of other stuff to do. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and we have done that, and it's involved. And it's like it's not so much just the sound. I got that down pretty good with my mics and stuff. It's the video, because what we found to do is I had one member at the time was a little more savvier than I was, and he had a iPad, and he co-hosted that pad into the Zoom, turned the volume off, but used his iPad as a camera so he could walk around, like a cameraman, and it was wireless.
Yeah.
And all that. Well, you got to have a person doing that, and a person doing the sound. And
that's busy. Right. And that's why it's kind of like you can't just sit there and say, do it for me.
No,
you've got to have somebody volunteer to set that up, and maybe 2 or 3 people to actually do it
At
during
least
the meeting.
two. At least two.
So come up with the people, come up with the volunteers. I'm not going to do it. So nobody has. And to me, that's just fine because I'm not really in favor of it. If you want to be a part of the meetings, come to the meetings. It's not that hard.
Well, it's just
Our
like here.
association is within people within Winnipeg and surrounding area.
Mhm.
The meetings are held in Winnipeg. I drive 45 miles one way
That's
to
a
attend
lot.
those meetings.
That's what, an hour?
I get home at midnight or later days of those meetings.
That's a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
an hour
mileage.
from here.
Yeah.
It is. It's an hour drive from here.
Yeah.
And it's not even Chinese food. So it's a good time. uh, it's a good time, and I really enjoy being there with the people, and
Well,
that's why I do it.
so this is what, November. October, we had a meeting, and we went into the new room that we were given by the college. It had acoustics were terrible. It wound around. I had to get an IT tech from the college, 10 minutes before the meeting, and we were zooming the speaker in. And I said, it wasn't going to be hybrid. You want to listen to we're zooming the speaker into this room. You all come out to watch the speaker. It was about commercial pollination and stuff like that. Now, see, I'm a person that likes to expand my knowledge in every aspect. I'm not going to be a commercial pollinator, but I like to learn about it. And of course, I'm trying to put a show on, as I call it. And so 16, counting myself, there were 16 people in the room. It cost us $84 that night for that room. And I'm like, and I called a special board meeting after that. And I said, this is BS. I says, if nobody's coming out, why spend the money for a room? And so it was we made a decision that, fine, most of our speakers in the next several months is Zoom speakers. I said, I can run this meeting from my house. And we Zoomed the speaker in, and we had our Zoom meeting this past week with a speaker. And, we only had like 25 or 26 people on the Zoom meeting. And I actually had a bee chat from 6:30 to 7, questions and answers for either beginners or people just want to talk about their problems in beekeeping. And we did it that way. So I did find a room at our local farm extension office that's free. It'll hold 50 people. And we're going to have a honey tasting thing in February. That's where Brian from Flower Street, his creamed honey, and James's honey that I used last year. I kept all those different honeys from all over the United States and Canada and bring them in and let them, sample honeys from all across the North America, you might say. And so that's one of we got a couple more. I think that's going to be February, March, and April. We've got the room booked. We'll see how we're going to either do a hybrid meeting or what. We'll see what happens, but it's not going to cost us. I actually saved the club $420 some by doing it that way. So I don't know. It's like I say, I wanted to try to get the people to come back out and have a social aspect about it and stuff. But I don't know.
And that's what I would like to. I don't know where all the people are. Like, I don't know.
Well, that was just what I was just going to say. Is there's some other members that I think they've kind of got the gist of beekeeping, and I'm like, I ain't been bothered with it during meetings. Kind of like Bob over there. He don't go to any local meetings. He's like he told the one woman, what was it? I got a YouTube beekeeping club.
Yep, that we get 75 to 100 people most every night of the week that we come on watching. And everybody's welcome to click the link. If they don't, it's because they don't want to or whatever, but they're welcome to, there's nothing keeping anybody out. And I mean, now I do see the benefit of it for me personally here However, I think for some reason B clubs love Tuesday night, and that just happens to be live stream night. So
Well, here, Wednesdays is a big night in different counties in Maryland. There are some Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights, and Thursdays. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Yeah, because I can have, like last week, I could have went to a meeting on Tuesday night. I could have went to my own meeting on Wednesday, and then I could actually went to Pennsylvania, an hour and a half away, on Thursday, which I did. Actually, you guys were on, and I was listening to them because they said they needed so many people to be able to, to do their elections and stuff like that. So I jumped on there and did my voting and all that kind of stuff for them. And as soon as they got done the voting, and all right, we're shutting the internet part down, and I'm like, that's a long way to drive, for a little short type meeting like that, But I used to drive it up there, but we used to, it was pre-COVID, whole different ball game. Then I was up there one night where everybody else stayed home and zoomed in, and I'm up there an hour and a half from home, and there was, like you say, 20 or 30 people there, and and all that kind of stuff. So
well, I'm glad this COVID thing, it changed a lot of stuff, and I think it changed some things for the better or for a positive. And our provincial association, we've been meeting ever since via Zoom, and it works out great because we're a voluntary board. None of us get paid. I'm one of the closest people to where we meet, and I'm an hour away. We have one guy who travels, 5 hours to be at our monthly meetings.
Really?
That's a big commit. Well,
that's a heck of a commitment. Now I wanted to. Steve,
yeah, but you see,
go ahead.
I want to qualify that it's still 5 hours, but he does, because it's going to the city where, a lot of times he gets things from the city or does business at the city, then he's able to carry on a lot of business while he's there, but he's still a long ways away. Mm-hmm. So with Zoom, then we can carry on our business without actually having to do that. Now, there is the component of we don't get to shake each other's hand and, chuckle over lunch and that kind of stuff. So that's a negative there.
Yeah, Steve,
saves
in the
us
comments,
a lot of money in room rental.
Yeah, Steve, I did email my address to you. Check your email. It should be in there. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, and there's, like you say, the other component for me is that the knowledge base that I have now versus what I had years ago. I have a bigger knowledge base, and I need, I'll say, a higher level of information, or at least that's what I'm looking for. It's like today, about this EA, they were going to have queen rearing. I said, are you going to show me how to set up a cell builder? No, well, no. What's the sense of going? I already know how to graft. Setting up a cell builder is the other part of the equation. And really, it's actually, I think, harder to understand how to do it than just the grafting part. And
it's
like
the heart. It's the heart. If you don't get that right, it doesn't matter what else you do.
Right. And they don't seem to understand that, that's because I know, because I've been grafting for 3 years. And so it's just and all that. But anyway,
well, I'm still optimistic about the clubs. I'm optimistic that this stuff. Our club is 60 years old, and it wasn't built in a day. So everything ebbs and flows, and there were times when our club was 3 people meeting in a restaurant or something. right? So we've come a long ways, even compared to what we're doing now. And some of the speakers that we have come in, just amazing, right? We have people at our disposal that I'm sure a lot of clubs would just pay real money to have. We get the likes of, Ian, we get the likes of Lloyd Harris, Dr. Curry, Phil B-Man, and on and on and on. We have such expertise right at our disposal here. It's just quite a thrilling situation that we have those people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I pay speakers. This last speaker I had, it was $200. It was normally $250. He gave it down to $200, and I normally pay, if you're some type of professional of some sort, at least $175.
Yeah, Brian asked if it's a Red River Association. Yeah, Red River Apiarist Association.
But I think it's going to take time, but I think what's going to happen is people are going to get tired of the remote thing, and they're going to say, hey, let's go back to this new concept of getting together in meetings, type of thing, where they're going to have to start missing the social aspect of it. And they will want to come back to the meetings and all that.
So here's a dynamic too, and I don't know if it's affected you, but I know around here we had a huge bubble of new beekeepers around 2016.
Yep.
Yeah, 2016, 2017. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if just when 2020 came along, I wonder if a lot of that just fell by attrition. And a lot of these beekeepers just
another thing that we
would have even normally given up beekeeping because they realize, let's face it, it happens to a lot of people. They get into the bees. They say, I'm going to keep bees, and they get bees, and they realize in 2 years it's just like, that's not my thing.
It's work,
and then they give it up. I don't want to disparage anybody, but it is. It's way different than having a goldfish, right? It's completely different. So I don't think that's necessarily clear, and so people just say, this isn't for me.
Keeping bees is a lot of information that you have to understand. What's Shane?
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that comment.
Yeah, it's personal views. It's versatile views and bigger, larger amounts of information and stuff like that. And so I'm hoping, we're talking about the 20 thing. Everybody was cooped up for that year. One thing I'll tell you, for me, I worked every day because we were, exempt from not we could continue to work. People came to us, I didn't require masks because we're outside. I said, as long as you stay 15 feet over there, stay away from me, you're fine. And it worked fine for me. And they enjoyed coming up. I had more people, hobbyists, because they were wanting something to do. And then, and on the weekend, I couldn't do anything because everything was closed. And I'm glad I had my bees, because Sundays I would go out there and just poke around in the bees, just kind of, inspect, mark queens while I was doing it and stuff like that. Work, spend 4 hours out there just doing whatever.
Well, we had the conversation about this is like the flip side of the coin.
You're really loud, Bob.
Well, see, I've just been quiet for so long that
the auto gain has gone way up.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So, this is kind of the flip side of the coin to what we were saying about new beekeepers being included in some of these meetings and maybe backyarders and sideliners. And, do you think it's like with the association, right? We were talking about the ABF and stuff like that. But do you think that it works just the same way, but in the opposite when the stuff gets too advanced, where the beginning guy is like, yeah, I'm kind of lost when I go, so I don't go. And then if you dumb it down, that's probably a bad phraseology, not dumbing it down, because it's not that they're, that new guys dumb. They just don't know, right? So making it more basic, let's say that, that now the more advanced people are like, well, I don't need to know any of that, so I don't show up. So there's really not a happy medium because everybody's on different levels, right? So do you think that could be something that might be affecting people wanting to come to the meetings? Is that there's just not that happy ground to where, yep, some of the advanced guys are learning something, but the newer guys are learning something as well, and you're kind of in the middle? Or is it something where everybody, as the association over years, kind of gets advanced to a point where the new guys kind of don't get it yet? Or you understand what I'm trying to say? Or did I just mess that all the way up?
Well, it definitely is something to take into account. You made a comment earlier. You got to know your crowd, right? To speak to the audience, but you're right. There's a wide variety there. We have sideliners that have been doing this for quite some time. We have some old timers who've been doing this for twice as long as I've been alive. Well, no, that's not true. I keep thinking I'm younger than I am, but you know what I mean. Been doing it a long time, and then we have people that it's their first winter, and so we have to speak to all of them. At least maybe not at the same time, but in rotation for sure, right? Or speak to topics that interest everyone. Don't always talk about
how to
wrap a hive or how to make a split, right? How to make a split is valuable information, but not really all that interesting to somebody who's been keeping bees for over 5 years.
See, that was the thing about EAS. EAS, they were talking about, we're going to learn how to make increases or splits, just a different word for it. And I'm like, I've been doing that for 10 years, like that's, it's beyond, I want something beyond that. But like you say, yeah, it's hard it seems like to me, the clubs and associations around me gear the talks to that level all the time. That how to make a split, how to winter prep, and even my club, come fall, all right, let's talk about winter prep. Let's talk about feeding. Let's talk about treating. Sort of the same thing every year and all. I don't know. What else do you talk about, No Mite Monday.
No Mite Mondays. We haven't had a No Mite Monday in a few weeks.
Well, we have less to talk about. So, Carl, what's happening?
Not much, Charles. Not much at all. I'm just reading some of these comments, and I'm kind of shocked what DC just said, that his club, that if you don't meet certain criteria, they won't even let you in to see about splitting and breeding queens and stuff like that. I'd be looking for a new club real quick if I had time to go to club meetings.
Who was saying that?
DC, I think I just saw it. Our local club has
the new guys from
group that
advanced instruction.
Yeah,
they usually that kind of instruction is for everybody. If you want to do it, we don't have breakouts. So let's say if we have a live area, we don't have breakout sections, one for the new, one for the medium, and one for the advanced. Now, the one club in Pennsylvania used to do it that way.
Yeah.
they would, that kind of stuff.
Well,
I
DC's
mean, like,
better where he is watching us, because I'll be honest, just this past spring, I mean, I learned more off you guys in a couple weeks than I did the previous 2 years trying to figure it out, And I had
Good.
a lot
There's
more
a chance that
success.
invoice I'm sending you might get paid then.
There's a slight chance. Not very big. Bob, I'm just like everybody else. That stack, I have a big stack,
And I want to speak to DC's comment there, and that sounds unfortunate. However, I'm going to kind of play the other side of it. If I'm going to offer queen rearing course or workshop or class, or particularly if I'm going to have a queen rearing group that we meet regularly, right? You want to make sure you have an audience that you're moving along together, right?
Okay,
Because
yeah.
if you need to every session start with the basics because there's somebody that doesn't know the life cycle of a queen bee, then you go nowhere, right? So I think it's perfectly valid, and I don't know exactly the situation he's talking about, so forgive me if it's different than what I'm
you're
kind of
right,
talking
Fred.
about.
I didn't think of it that way.
But if I had a queen rearing club kind of thing, then I probably would try to structure it perhaps in an annual rotation, so that we would start at a certain point in the year, and probably I would think start maybe about August or September into the basics. And then by the time we get to May, June, and July, we're at the expert stage when you're actually using the expert processes and stuff. So I can kind of see that if you don't have prerequisites for certain types of classes, then no. You could enter at your own risk, but don't tie up the class with elementary questions that we covered 6 months ago, because everybody else is there kind of at the same stage. And if you've joined late and you haven't caught up to all this stuff, you're just going to have to lump it and kind of fit in. So I don't know exactly the situation he's talking about, but that I could see in certain, types of
you're probably
structures
right.
that really is necessary.
You're probably right in the way you're looking at it too. And you know what? The other fact of that matter is, not everybody the second year is on that page where they want to build and grow and jump into it too. So I mean, there's more ego-driven people that are doing their due diligence and reading books and trying to learn and trying to get ahead and jump into it a little faster. So you're probably right. It's just a matter of how big is the club. Is this club 20, 30, 50, 100, 200? Who knows? So I mean, there's different ways to look at it too. So, you're probably right.
It all depends on what structure the group has set up for something like that. Like, because he said a queen rearing club, to me that's something that you need to progress through a series of theory and practical and expertise, fine tuning and fine tuning your skills and your knowledge, and you have to keep moving. It's not just something, just a general organization. You can have a kind of a random presentation every meeting that kind of speaks to the group as a whole.
Yeah.
But if you have a specific group, a specific club, then there's an expectation, I think, that there's going to be a logical progression through the subject matter, I think.
Yeah, DC's commenting a little more about it too, and it sounds like there's somebody that's a figurehead in there and running it as their own.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more to his situation than that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's more going on there. So, but DC, I would just start looking or keep on listening here and chats online and stuff like that, because I learned a lot online myself, to be honest, just listening to you guys. Brad, you talked about it a lot, and Bob did too. Bob was trying to rear at the same time that I got into it. Charles was kicking in a lot. Just some of the comments, just from the simple one was just filing down that Chinese tool a little bit with a fingernail file, to make it so it's a little thinner. That helps a ton, just simple things, So
it says here with DC's comments there, Grayson is in a club, and I think a lot of the people were upset about how the club was being run. Some were using facilities as a private group facility.
Yeah.
If it's a public facility, it needs to be open to the public. Well, usually, I mean, my bee club is open to the general public. Anybody can come to our meetings. You don't have to be a beekeeper. You can set in. It don't matter. But now something our club does, and I mean, we have the state inspector as we hire her as our teacher. We go through the local community college, use their facility. This past spring, I'll say February, late February, early March, there's a 6-week course. You pay the college, we get half the money, the college gets half the money. We pay the teacher, and she goes from, it's a beginner's class. And after 6 weeks, she pretty much covers the bases of a whole, as a new beekeeper. I mean, there's lots more, just scratching the surface. But, there's some folks that don't even do that. And I'm like, you got to go to I mean, they'll come in here and talk to me. Well, I got bees and did this and did that and whatever. I said, did you? And I can just tell by talking to them. I said, you didn't go to bee school, did you? No. Well, that's important, I think, for them to go to bee school. And I'm not sure if every club out there, teaches that, I guess you would say. I understand prior to me coming into the club, they used to have different members of the club teach different parts of the bee class. And of course, I think people got tired of that. So then they said, okay, this one girl, she wanted to be the teacher, and she just, she has done it year after year. So she's got her curriculum set up. She's got her props, brings in hard, woodenware and things like that. And all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know what everybody, I find it quite interesting that there's some parts of the country don't even have bee clubs.
And I'm going to say something's going to start a fight, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Okay.
The notion that a bee club, I don't care where it's being held, is obligated to let the public at large into their meetings is nonsense, because that's laid out in the association bylaws. And if the bylaws state that it's a closed meeting for members only, then that's exactly what it is. If the bylaws don't state that, or they state that it's specifically an open meeting to anybody who wants to attend, then that's what it is. That's up to the bylaws. It's not up to anybody's interpretation. It's not up to anybody's opinion. It states that in the bylaws.
Yeah. Now our bylaws state.
I would encourage anybody want to fight a notion like that. You open the bylaws, and if the bylaws don't state that they're closed meetings, then I think you have grounds to approach executive and say, look, you can't close the meetings to people based on whatever, because it's not in the bylaws.
Right. Now our bylaws state it's open for the public, but do they come out? No. It's usually
most do, because what are you going to do? Hire security and lock the doors and muscle people out if they don't have membership?
No, it'd be like
that's the reality.
And the main thing of it would be like election. You have to be a member in good standing in order to vote.
In order to vote, for sure.
That's definitely a members only thing. So I was informed today. I'm pretty much won for my next year of term. Nobody else has run. So president for another year.
I'm sure that'll be the case for me too, but I don't think there's anything for me to brag about.
No, not really. It's my fifth. It'll be year number 5. So I don't know. It's like one of I call him my cabinet member. He's a past president, and he's my go-to guy. and if I have questions and stuff. And he does a lot of work for me behind the scenes. And he was asking me, well, where was the vice president at when we had such and such a meeting? I said, I don't know. He probably forgot about it or whatever. I said, that's what I'm concerned about if he takes my position over with, about, having a smooth running outfit. That's one thing in my club, and I tell them this too, all my board members and the board members, along with my committee chair people. I said, the only reason I'm doing this job is because I got all you guys. You guys are, we're all working together and we all do our jobs and stuff like that. And I said, you're all, top notch as far as I'm concerned. And they are. And I've got it down to where each one of them has a small job, so it's not overwhelming. And that's a big deal, because I talked to a president of another club today, and there's this contention amongst the board members. 2 or 3 are against the other, so many of them in there and all. That's hard to run something like that. I wouldn't put up with it myself. I'd say, see y'all later.
Yeah, you need cohesiveness.
Well, we all get along very well, and I got one girl. I just texted her. I said, book. I just hear this week. She texted me, do you want me to book the meeting for February at this new? We had a reservation. It was either 1 or 2 dates in the same month, and we decided what date it was. And she texted me and said, do you want me to confirm the date, for February? And I said, yeah. And she, text back on it, she's Johnny on the spot. She's like an Energizer bunny, as I always tell her. And then I said,
yeah,
here
that's
this week.
nice to have those people.
That's the way she is, I text her, I said, hey, I want you to book March and April, these 2 dates for the same meeting room. And back, right back on it. I'm on it. I don't have to worry about nothing. I got good people like that on the board. And it makes the jobs for everybody very easy. At all.
Yeah, that's a nice situation. That really is.
Mm-hmm. And that's why
we have some pretty good people too. It's hard to get any more volunteers from the crowd, it seems.
But volunteer. Nobody's volunteered for any of the board memberships, but I do have great people, and I tell them that. And I said, that's why I'll continue on being the president. It's like the last year or whatever. I said, I'll be president as long as you guys stay with me, stuff like that. So, way it is. Well, Carl, did you get my peanut butter honey done yet?
Oh, it's all done. It's done. The apple cinnamon's done. We've been busy the last couple of weeks. I think we did.
That's fine. There's no big, I don't need it.
You were telling me January, but I think we did 130 bottles.
February is the tasting thing for our club. Yeah. But if you can grab me, send me some, the peanut butter and whatever else you want to send me.
Yeah, I'm going to send you that in the apple cinnamon. I have a bottle up. I actually put it on the site. I think Wednesday or Thursday I put it on the site, and it's been a little busy, or else I would have got it out. So
that's cool.
I remember you saying that you were doing a tasting and that. So thankfully, because everything else
we did that.
done.
We did that last year, and to be honest with you, I thought man, this ain't going to be. This is going to be boring, or it's not going to go over well. And we had the biggest, baddest time ever was. People were having fun, and there was a good crowd. And I had like James honey from, out there in Alberta, and I had spotted lanternfly honey from a guy that gave me, and I don't know, just one honey from, these were all liquid honeys from at least a half a dozen or more people that I got at Hive Life or up around here too. And it was, it was a lot of fun. And now we got this creamed honey and flavored honey. And that was one thing, Brad and everybody, that this gal I was talking to her at this meeting, and we were talking about Zoom and all this other stuff. and she made mention. She said, "Yeah, I want to learn how to make creamed honey." And I says, "You know what?" I says, "My group on my channel and all the other channels I'm on, there is." I says, "I'm telling you right now, there is this major." Creamed honey is becoming. It's an old thing coming new again.
It's a movement, Charlie.
It's a movement. And I says, I says,
cream honey movement.
I got guys from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States and up in Canada that they're doing flavored honeys and, which are all creamed and stuff like that. I said, there's you're going to watch it. It's going to be coming even more and more popular as people are educated about it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I picked up the Lyson this spring, and I used that, and I really liked it. And then Hilco came out with theirs, which wasn't heated, but the price was ridiculous, in my opinion. I thought it was a great price. And the Lyson, the one thing about the Lyson that I didn't care for, I didn't think it mixed very well. I mean, I did fill it right to the damn top too, so that might have been my fault. I kind of overfilled it, I think. And this Hilco I got is got a little different design, very similar paddles and that, but it's got some more pitch on the blades and stuff like that. It did mix much, much better, honestly. And that, so I was very happy with that. And Alex, you got to get there, bud. You got to get your hands on one. It's worth it. Just push a button and walk away, and just come back 4 or 5 days later, push another button, let it go for a couple more days, and there's no hassle and stuff like that.
Hilco, you said?
Hilco, yeah. And I tell you what, mine came, it was damaged. The fan on the back, there's a fan cover, was dented in, and I took pictures of it, sent it to Hilco, and I told them I took the fan cover off and I banged it back out because I wanted to use it. And the fan on the back wasn't running completely true. They sent out a brand new gear motor for me, which I didn't change, which I had to get changed in the next couple of days and ship it back out to them. But no questions asked. They sent a brand new gear motor for me to switch right out.
I don't know if Hilco products are available where I live. I'll have to do some research.
Yeah, check into it because the price was very, very reasonable, in my opinion. It was less than half than what I paid for the Lyson. Now, the Lyson, I got to tell you this. I bought it. It was the heated and everything else. So, obviously, that makes the price tag go up quite a bit. But I know that the Lyson attachment itself is like $1,300. And that's what this was with the tank and everything. So, I thought it was pretty reasonable in my opinion.
You got to get it across the border, Alex.
Yeah, there's lots of woods. Just go up towards Minnesota, and there's plenty of woods. You could climb through the woods there somewhere.
He's closer to New York, right there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I haven't heard bad things about Hilco products at all. But I have heard some similar situations to you with products coming that are dented or something like that. But from what everybody says is they make good on it. So,
Carl,
yeah.
Brian wants to know what what's the quality and is it a sturdy unit?
Yeah, the tank and stuff, it was very well constructed. I mean, it wasn't light gauge. It was good heavy gauge.
Shane wanted to know what the capacity is.
The one I got is 24 gallon. I put 22 gallon in it, and it mixed very well. And I didn't want to fill it all the way up like I did the Lyson because I think, in my opinion, I got to try the Lyson again. I think that was part of the problem is the Lyson, I filled it right up to max capacity, and it did not seem to mix. But also the Hilco, I did notice the pitch on the blades in that was a lot better pitch for mixing. So even when it turns on, it ramps up real nice. Just the Lyson does too. I can't say anything bad about the way it runs in that, the Lyson, but just the pitch on the blades and stuff seemed to make it a little better mixing and we split the batch after we did the full 22 gallons, and we split off, and I think I took 80 pounds of it for peanut butter honey into a separate chamber to mix the peanut butter. And the other, I think there was approximately 160 pounds left in there. That was all mixed in the cinnamon. And then I think 50 of it went for cinnamon and 110 went to apple cinnamon. And even what my wife said with the apple cinnamon, putting in the mixture in that, it seemed to mix itself. Now, we did follow it up with a paddle mixer afterwards to make sure it blended really good and that, but it did a very good job by itself. So I
25 gallon or 24 gallon mixer tank. That's as big as my bottling tank, and that ain't no small tank.
No.
That's a good sized tank. You got a lot of torque there on that motor.
Yep.
If you're going to fill it up maximum.
Well, it has a PLC startup on it, and it is a gear motor, so it ramps up nice and slow, and it doesn't just boom turn on and just start torquing. So that's the thing with PLCs. You can ramp it up slow, so you don't put a full load on that gear motor. So both the Lyson and this both have the same type of PLCs on them, and they work really well, both of them. I cannot say anything bad about either one of them. The only thing I could say is that Hillco definitely does mix much better than the Lyson. So, and Brian has the same Lyson as I do. So I don't know if he mixes his stuff into it, whether it's peanut butter or blueberry or cocoa, and that if he mixes right in his Lyson or if he does that with a paddle on the side. But I wasn't happy when I tried to mix with the Lyson when I mixed in my ingredients.
Yeah.
So
now I'm going to say something to Brian here. Now, Brian, I talked to this girl, and her name's Tony, and her last name's Burnham. Did you sell some cinnamon creamed honey, I think it was, to some guy out at the Denver airport? It's either Denver or something. I think it was an airport or something like that, because I think she said that she had bought from you, or her husband had bought from you at an airport someplace. I think I'm going to say Denver, Colorado, or something like that.
It makes sense because I know he was back home to Jersey during the summer, and I know he was traveling some. So he's not going to drive from where he lives out to back home to Jersey. So he was flying. I think he did tell me he flew in, so he may have.
Yeah, because I don't know. She lives in D.C., Washington, D.C.
So he's mixing the 5-gallon pails.
I don't know, but
yeah, just
anyway, from what I understand,
I never thought about having a kiosk at the airport. That's not a bad idea. Then you got everybody coming and going. Hell yeah, I need some local South Carolina honey right there.
So, Brian, you have a kiosk at the airport?
No, he said some big beekeeper has a kiosk at the airport. We don't speak his name, he says.
Yeah, it sounds like
I get it.
Let's see.
We're all buying equipment. I don't know about buying kiosk.
Well, the Robbies from the Robbie Vaporizers was developing a vending
machine. Yeah, he has it at an Amish market or something like that up there, Amish type market, and he just has the vending machine in there.
I think he told me it didn't go over very well.
Well, I see local. I use the term loosely. Honey in our grocery store.
Yeah,
and it is a South Carolina beekeeper. However, they don't get around to the stores very often, and it's nothing to go in there and look at their shelf. And they'll have like chunk honey in there, and it's like already crystallized, right, in the jar and everything. So it's not a good look. But, when you get big, I guess you could do those types of things and get away with it. But I know when I was in the bread business, if you put bread on the shelf and the date is today and you haven't gotten to the store yet, you're getting a phone call from the store manager telling you to get it out of there, right? So I don't know how they can do that with the honey. I guess because there's no expiration date. It just looks terrible.
Yeah, we had a member in our club. He's passed away now, that used to sell it at the local store here. And like you say, I looked at some of his honey. I'm like, really? You think somebody's going to buy that looking crap? I would have pulled that out of there big time.
Yeah, another benefit of creamed honey is it doesn't crystallize because
it's already crystallized.
It already is. It's just the crystals are so small you can't perceive them.
I'm with Charlie though. I you know what? I carry honey around with me all the time, and I had a little bit of my spring summer honey left, and it's granulate and you could see it. We pulled it all. I threw it in a cooler and I took. You'll love this. But the incubator I was using for queen rearing, plugged it in. I threw it inside the cooler on top of the all the 1 pounders that were crystallizing. Let it go for 24 hours. Opened it up. They were perfect. Unplugged it. Right back out. They're gone.
Mm-hmm.
No lights, no nothing. I just threw the top of the incubator in a good cooler with them on top. 24 hours, they were perfect. No messing around. So
yeah, it's like I have that refrigerator. It's got a light in there that keeps it about 105 degrees. And if I have a bottle of it, I'll put it in the little slots on the door of the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Come back the next morning, it's fine.
Yeah, I just did some quick research. There's no Hillco products for sale anywhere near. I even checked all the way to Dancing Bee. They don't have any Hillco.
Right, because they're their own supplier. It's like buying man. Well, I guess that Man Lake you can buy anywhere, but Hillco, I think they might ship to Canada. I don't know.
Yeah, but the fees for crossing the border doubles the price. It's crazy. I ordered that 12-inch uncapping knife, heated uncapping knife, and after the conversion of money and the duty fees, it went up to almost $500 Canadian, but still.
So what you're saying is I need to start a Canadian beekeeping black market.
sounds that way.
Yeah.
Just wrap everything and make sure it's wrapped in a birthday wrap or a Christmas wrap before it goes.
Just label it, do not open before Christmas.
Right.
And they can't touch it, right?
Makes sense.
Signed Santa. They don't want to mess with Santa.
Sign it party. It's a party foul if they open it.
Yeah.
You guys are closer to Santa's home than we are, so.
Yeah. Well, exactly. That's why Canada Customs knows that, because Santa's Canadian. And if they screw with Santa's parcels, they're not getting nothing for Christmas. Nobody's going to hazard that.
You're going to get a lump of coal.
That's right.
All right, guys. Well, it's 11:25, and we still have the Die Hard 40 on.
Yeah. Well, you only been on an hour and 50 minutes.
Only.
Yeah.
It's pretty good for not having any bee work to talk about.
Yeah, but we're talking about.
Yeah.
Of course, Charlie says we've only been on an hour and 51 minutes. Charlie's been on 35 minutes.
That's right.
What, we need controversy? Is that what you're saying? We need a controversial topic? Is that what we're looking for?
No, I don't need any more controversy in my life.
Shane tried to sucker me into that, but it didn't work. I just passed the old buck.
You're a true politician,
Ask my
sir.
wife. Ask my wife. You can always depend on me to do the least I can do.
Yeah, you're a beekeeper. Okay.
That's being efficient.
Yeah. Yep. A beekeeper,
Well, that's
your
mostly when it
caliber,
comes
you
to
just
house
passed
work.
the buck. Yeah, okay.
All right, we'll make it 2 hours, Charlie.
Yeah, well, you know,
Think
what
you
else
can hold
you
out?
gonna
Charlie
do?
got enough popcorn for another 8 minutes?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I ate the
microwave's
rest.
5 feet away, I bet.
Rex, she's just popping in
When are you doing your honey tasting, Charlie?
February.
Okay, I might send you some hot honey.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be really cool. Yeah, now don't give me that stuff. It's like burns it.
No, you don't. It's going to be question mark on the top, and everybody's got to taste it at the same time. Now I'll send you. I'll send you both.
You're going to make popcorn flavored honey for Charlie?
Heck yeah, we could do it.
Yeah, but you said you had some kind of honey that you could barely take a drop of it.
Oh, the Carolina.
Oh yeah,
Reaper.
I have my blended mix. You wouldn't want that.
What is it?
Blended mix. It's when I mix up all my peppers and everything before I incorporate it in. Oh yeah, I gave some to my brother-in-law today. He was coughing.
Yeah, I got that Reaper honey too. So it was so bad when I went to rinse out the bucket, it was like pepper spraying myself.
Yep.
Just from the steam coming off the water back into the air.
Yeah, I stopped by a show last week, Bob, and you'll get a kick out of this. And they were trying to sell their hot honey, and I was like, all right, so I want to check this out, see what they have in that. So I went over and they had a taster, and I picked up the bottle and I started looking at it. It's a guy that's only 20 miles from me, and as soon as I picked up a bottle on the counter, you could see the spices laying right across the top. All they were doing was taking powder spices and spilling it into the honey and trying to mix it up and sell it that way.
I mixed mine in and then let it sit for about 2 months in the bucket, stirring occasionally.
Yep. And I tell you what, as soon as you taste it, you could tell what you were getting. You know? So
You mean that's first a real hot pepper? What you're saying?
yeah, they were just buying powders. They're just taking jar powdered stuff, Charles, and they're taking their honey and they're doing nothing more than spilling it and mixing it up and in their bottle, and that's it. Not incorporating it or trying to blend it in or doing like Bob said, let it sit and let the peppers actually work their way through it and stuff like that. Nope, they're just gonna buy some powder and put it in there and that's it.
You should have said, that's cute. Try this hot honey.
I wasn't carrying it with me. I was there to do some research and development. You might as well say, see what I'm getting into. If I'm going to be going to a craft show or something like that, because I never did it. And I'm going next week, the one that supposedly there will be 2,000 to 3,000 people at it. So I'll see how I do. We have a bunch of stuff all set up and ready to go. So I'm entering Brian's domain now. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like I don't have enough work. So Brian talks about his soaps and everything else. I think he's got me headstrong and I'm trying different things. So
now I had a friend of mine and he I seen him doing it at his house. He like these lavender soaps and all these kind of stuff, and it has different stuff in it. He just buys the stuff from somebody else and then relabels it.
I should try
it's a good gig, eh?
Try. I do have some lye I could make soap with. I mean, I have a lot. I have about 25 pounds of wax. I know it's usually used as a hardener because pure beeswax soap is hard as a rock. But I've seen a few recipes. They use a mix of coconut oil, olive oil, and beeswax.
You can use jojoba oil too. You can use that in there.
What's the shea butter for? And that for hand cream or something?
Yeah, they
I don't
blend
even know
shea
what it
butter
is.
with everything.
What's that, Carl?
They use shea butter to blend with almost anything and everything. From lip balms to the lotion soaps and everything else. Shea butter is a pretty common blender. Brian, I'm just getting into that. Brian could answer a lot of that stuff. I mean, shea butter is one of the big ones. They enjoy it. It's a very neutral, mild oil that blends real well with everything. So
I think it helps your skin stay soft. All that stuff.
Does it look like I'm worried about that?
Not either.
I got a gal in the club, and she
I have some smooth
goes
skin right
to-
here.
goes to market and stuff like that, and she sells liquid honey, and she sells like lip balm, and she sells hand cream, and I asked her about that, and she said they're coming in to buy the lip balm and the hand cream. The liquid honey is just an afterthought. That's the main thing that she sells. Of course, you have to kind of depends on what your customer base is too.
Yeah.
All that.
You got to build that customer base, though. Every time someone comes to buy regular honey, I ask them, have they tried hot honey? And 99% of them say, nope, never tried it. Then I give them a sample, and they're like, oh, I like that. Let me get one of those, too. I mean, same thing with the creamed honey. If I had creamed honey, people are like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, where's that Snickers?
It's right here, safe and sound. Still right here.
Well, that.
I don't have a creamer, and I've been too cheap to spend $300 to buy the KitchenAid mixer. But I've been looking at it more and more.
I mean,
It will happen.
To make small batches.
Well, that's
I
the
guess you
thing.
can always, if you want to make more, you can always use a drill and a mixing attachment.
Yeah, I've got all that stuff. The thing is that my honey, I've got most of it jarred up. I've only got a few cases of 1 pound bottles. So everybody's buying pints and quarts, and I still have, 12 gallons in my bottling tank. So so I've just kind of got to the point to where I want to see where my customers kind of take me on what I need to make next. If I need to make more quarts or pints, then I have honey to do that. But if I cream it all up, then what I got is what I've got, right? So just kind of playing it by ear right now.
Well, you can make a small batch in a 3-gallon pail. See what happens.
Then be my luck, it'd sell out, and then I'd be like, oh, got to make the rest of this. So, I mean, I could. I didn't make. Right now, I think my supply and demand are kind of about equal. I don't have a lot of excess honey now that I've made a bunch of hot honey. So I will definitely get into making creamed honey. I just don't know if it's going to be this season or next. Carl hot processes his hot honey.
No, I think he's asking about the soap, which
okay.
That's still to be determined tomorrow. I will be told what's happening there, Brian.
Your wife will inform you of the process.
You got it right there, Bob. Yeah.
She will let you know how it's going to go.
Yep. Signs of a good marriage, Brian.
All right. So DC asked a question. I don't know the answer. DC said, wait, doesn't it grow in volume when you cream it?
No. Weight is weight. It's going to aerate a little bit in that, but weight is weight.
But see, that's the difference between a whipped honey and a creamed honey.
Yeah.
So whipped honey, you're adding air volume to it, right?
Yes.
And how do you make whip? That was like over there at Jason at Bohemian Bees, I'm going to say he had whipped honey. It was kind of like icing. That's how smooth it was. And all.
I didn't see that one. I'm sorry. I can't comment on it.
The first mixer I bought was spinning too fast, and it made with whipped honey. I still have some. It's really like some of it like is really really fluffy, and it just floats back up, and it makes that honey foam on top of the regular honey.
I mean, is it solid? You know?
No, it's very. I'll grab it and I'll show you. It's easier.
All right.
It should be fluffier.
Well, I don't know. He had one where he put Old Bay in it. And he put some Old Bay in it. And you could take your you could take a spoon or whatever and just pick, and it was kind of like icing. It was that sort of texture, real soft stuff. Now, isn't crystallized honey more like a sort of a hard butter type of thing?
Okay, I'll open this up.
How do you get it out of that?
Squeeze.
As you can see, it's separated look. It looks like foam. It's like it's very
that's
light.
the ingredients, though. That's
Huh?
the ingredients you're looking at, though, too, Alex, isn't it?
That's
It's a little bit of 50-50 almost.
But yeah, the fact that the mixer was spinning faster at the lower speed put a lot of air in my first batch of
I got you.
cinnamon honey.
But now, is that liquid honey on the bottom of that bottle?
Yeah, it's somewhat liquid. It was my first attempt with a mixer that didn't do the job very well.
Right.
So it stayed partially liquid, partially crystallized. I mean, if I squeeze it out, I can't squeeze it out of this bottle. But the honey I showed the other day, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, the other day.
That's just too solid. It's like it's like Nutella. It doesn't squeeze out.
It's kind of like butter in it. Sort of.
Almost, yeah. Slightly
Slightly hard.
Well, it depends on the temperature of the butter, but yeah, it's almost like butter.
Okay.
And it doesn't run. It's not runny at all. It keeps its shape. And very, very smooth to the texture. I mean, it's it's almost silky for texture.
I think that's what you're supposed to get, or that's what you're desired.
Yeah, this is just way too. There's way too much air in this. It's good because it makes it easier for pouring out, and people get the idea of what it tastes like. But this batch is already gone. It's already sold out. I kept it because the taste is pretty much the same, and it's easier to.
Does it have a cinnamon or something in it, or what?
Yeah, that's cinnamon honey.
Yeah,
basswood is light yellow. This is you can see it's dark brown.
The peanut butter doesn't do that, but the cinnamon does it. The apple cinnamon does it. The cocoa stays pretty much blended really good. You don't get any of the frothing or air in it. But it seems like the cinnamon's the big one that does it, to be honest with you. So, and I don't know. I haven't played with the blueberry or the cocoa yet, but I think the blueberry might get some of that frothing. I don't know. Is Brian you still on here? Let us know. Does the blueberry get that froth on it? It's still honey and it tastes very good. Even that frothy tastes good. Well, there you go. Bob has some. It doesn't look like the blueberry has it. No. Nope. It's good.
Tastes good.
Yep. So,
But it does.
For this batch, I added the flavor while I was mixing instead of after it was ready.
So with creamed honey, do you keep it in the refrigerator then to keep it hard?
Me? No,
Yes,
the batch I
Brian
have
doesn't
doesn't need
see
the fridge.
Hmm?
All right, guys. We've been 2 hours and 6 minutes now, Charlie.
Yeah. We're still having a good conversation.
Charlie about had enough.
It's not a show anymore. Charlie's not chomping on popcorn. That's my timer. When Charlie
Charlie's
stops
it's time to
chomping,
go.
He's looking to see if he has more.
I could go get more.
Charles, you got to use the whirly pop.
Huh?
You got to use the whirly popper and do fresh kernels. None of that bag shit.
Oh,
It's got a better flavor. That's what I'm doing anymore.
what's a whirly pop?
it's the pan with the thing on the top that you.
Oh, hold on. Hell, I'll show you.
Yeah.
It's
Those are
1923
awesome.
again.
I got one of those.
These things work amazing.
Yeah.
You get
It's
good
awesome.
popcorn, it'll be better than that bag stuff you're buying. You put a little bit of
Every
regular
time.
butter, put some regular butter in it, and not all that contaminated shit that you're eating. And you
That
get
fake
true
butter
on
stuff
it.
will kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm serious. That stuff will kill you.
This is much better.
I used to have, and you guys are going to laugh at this because you know how I like gadgets. I used to have a legit movie theater popcorn machine in the kitchen. Not the little one that you can buy at like around the holidays from the store. I mean a full size movie theater popcorn popper. And I ended up selling it, but it worked. Flipping
That's
popcorn.
That's a lot of popcorn at once.
I'm not.
Hey,
I mean, I was trying to
no,
prep
it
in
makes-
case Charlie
Oh,
came to
wow.
visit. All right, guys, I'm gonna stop the live stream just because,
Alrighty.
and
Well,
we
nice
will
to see
talk.
everybody.
Yeah, it's good to talk with everybody because it's 1:45 here.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
surprised
not-
Charlie's cell phone hadn't rung tonight. That's the problem.
that
Charlie's
staying-
usually not here this time of the Saturday night stream.
she's staying home. She's staying home tonight.
All right, guys. Well, y'all have a good one. Thanks for watching. We appreciate all you guys, and we'll see you on the next stream.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.